that kind of stuff. But yeah, so for you, when did you start kind of dreaming about being a quarterback, more specifically at Darien High School? Because I remember in DJFL, like fifth, sixth grade, it was like you and Richard Brereton, and we used you kind of as like a tight end, and then you kind of became a quarterback in like sixth grade, I think it was.
Yeah, so basically my dad, quarterback Notre Dame. So basically my whole life I've been playing quarterback. Growing up in Darien, my dad used to coach at the high school, so I remember watching like George Benitez, Matt Wheelock, Henry Baldwin play, and then when I got to high school, I was seeing Silas play. So basically, probably my whole life, I've been dreaming about playing quarterback. And then in DJFL, I split some time growing up, but I always knew that eventually one day I'd get my shot. And I think just my entire life, I was waiting to get that chance.
Mm-hmm. Are you able just to put this on?
Yeah,
I want to get your. I don't want to get my voice. I want to get your stuff. But then I remember in eighth grade, it was interesting because you kind of proved yourself because we were like the B team on white. Strafone and Waters were the blue team, and then it was Racine and your dad. And there was that feeling of they were the more important team and they were getting the better players, but we were the team to beat New Canaan first. And I remember the morning after I was at church. Like Coach Strafone came, I was like, congratulations. And I saw Bobby and Christian, they seemed just pissed about it, stuff like that. And then there was a whole Enzor thing where he had been held back, and you kind of have to go against that. But you led us pretty much to that championship, that coach championship, and then Enzor moved. Did being counted out kind of in that way motivate you, even at that kind of young age?
I mean, I didn't really see it that way, being counted out. I mean, there are two teams. I was good friends with Andrew, but he was on the other team. Like, our goal was just to win. I loved playing for my dad and Coach Mercine and Mr. Minikis, so I think our whole goal was just to win. Being counted out never really has been ever my mindset in life.
And then what makes this project interesting, at least from my perspective, is we were kind of Trafone's chosen ones, like the golden boys, if you will. And because we had Bobby and Christian, so like in third, fourth grade, we kind of were like, holy crap, we're being coached by the head football coach of the high school. Do you agree with that? That kind of that notion of us kind of being built up?
I think it was very. I think we were so successful in our high school career because we were coached by such great coaches at a young age. Coach Trafone, Coach Waters, my dad, Coach Mercine, Mr. Minikis. I think being able to be coached by those guys at such a young age helped us develop our football IQ and like our football ability. And I think it just made the transition from youth football into the high school so much easier because we were running the offense since the fourth grade. I think it just started to become second nature to us.
And when did you kind of realize the idea of Coach Trafone is coaching us? Because when I was talking to Rock, he had said it was like 7th and 8th grade. He was kind of realizing because high school was coming and he was looking into that. Was it the same age for you, or were you just kind of?
It probably was 7th and 8th grade, but I mean, I was coached by Coach Timmy 1 or 2 years in youth because I was always coached by my dad.
Yeah.
But I just think it was so helpful just being around the coaching staff, and then even the other coaches at the high school knew us because Coach Trafone was our coach.
Yeah.
I just think it just benefited us in the long term, just being coached by Coach T at such a young age.
There's an interesting survey done in 2010 by someone from the high school about, they asked 4th, 5th, and 6th graders why they played, and the reason, that 95% said because it was fun. But then it was interesting when kids got to 7th and 8th grade, it became more of I want to win. Was it all, like, it's kind of a stupid question, but was it always fun for you, or was there a time where your competitive juices kind of took over and you kind of took it as like a business?
Well, football's always been fun growing up. I mean, running around with your buddies, hitting, throwing to your buddies. It's always been fun. But I think 8th grade, after we beat New Canaan, that first time we beat New Canaan, I think I realized that, this is now a job, and that I want to play college football, and that starting in the 9th grade, that's the first step into reaching our end goal, which was eventually going to be a state championship.
And then, I don't talk much about freshman year. I do mention Mark playing for varsity because not much really happened that year. So it's pretty much 2013, 14, 15. But there was a pretty good understanding that you were the guy after Silas. So you spent a year, under him, learning from him. And I was going through like pictures of my dad were taking. There's a lot of photos of you talking with him during games, and he took the time during games to kind of talk to him, stuff like that. What did you take away from a guy like Silas?
Everything I accomplished in high school was because of what Silas taught me, that his senior year, our sophomore year. The fact that he was underlooked, undersized, he like wasn't like a big name or like, oh, like this kid's gonna lead us, but just his competitive juices, like his work ethic in the weight room in the summer, during the season, his leadership ability, and just like the way he handled himself on and off the field. I think I took so much away from that sophomore year, just sitting back and just watching him compete and win all those football games for us. I think really helped me going into my junior year, just how to lead a team and how to work really hard.
And you had mentioned JV football, and when we were sophomores, it was all of us, and then when we were juniors, it was only Sam and I, which we talked about last night, which was funny. But how much did, as a sophomore, JV football affect you?
Well, I mean, JV football. I mean, the speed starts to pick up a little bit. I mean, that's always been my thing. That like as you go up in age and levels, the speed just gets faster. And I think being able to go against kids that are older than you and bigger than you really helped, like me mentally and physically. Just knowing that next year, like these guys are gonna be even faster. So I think just the timing and just being put in those situations really helped.
Now, when I was talking to Sam, he had there were moments his sophomore year where he had thought, maybe this isn't for me anymore, because as sophomores we actually had a pretty brutal schedule. We had sophomore JV, and then we had the varsity games. We were also playing scout team and getting our asses kicked. Like Rock was telling me about how one day just Miles had just cleaned his clock without looking and stuff like that. Was there any consideration where you were losing the fun in it, or was it always just?
It's always been fun. It's still fun to the day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what gets me through school day. Just knowing that I have football practice in the afternoon. I have a JV. It didn't matter what it was. It was football.
Yeah.
Football's just always been fun.
And then for me, I was struggling with that, and Sam and I were talking about, for a lot of us, it's one specific game where we like officially fell in love with high school football, and that for me was North Haven sophomore year, 100%. Even though like I didn't touch the field, there was not a chance. It was just like you and me and Cunningham and Cooper doing the car crew. But like, what was that game like for you? That entire atmosphere, stuff like that.
I think that whole season, to be honest with you, that whole run we made, just starting in North Haven, then leading into the Turkey Bowl. I think that run, just not even playing, just being a part of it, and just sitting on the sidelines, the atmosphere, it was great. It was just fun to be a part of, and that was really the first like deep playoff run that we've had in a while, and just to be a part of that was awesome.
There was a lot of guys on that 2013 team: Gunn, Coonsey, Gass, Jay Harrison, Silas. Even though I didn't get to know them personally, they were just great mentors. But what was your favorite memory from that group?
From that group, definitely just the camaraderie that we had, just the way. I mean, I considered that group kind of like us as well, just how respectful and how considerate they were of the sophomores, because I feel like our senior year, like that sophomore class was very big. I feel like a lot of kids in our grade played a big part in the sophomore and played a big part in that run that season. I just think just the way that they acted and the way that they led us and were respectful just was that's the one thing I'll remember. Like playing under Silas, like Silas was just so just considerate and so welcoming to me. He's like, oh, I'm a senior, you're a sophomore. Like I'm not gonna help you, but like it was the complete opposite. Like you can ask the rest of the kids in our grade, like they can like Bobby and Christian and Hudson. They're like, oh, Jay Harrison, Miles Ritter, like they were the reason that like we became so good. And I think that was like the one thing I'd take away from that season.
And then I was doing the stats for the state playoff run when I was writing about Silas and stuff like that. And I forgot about this, but you did have one attempted pass in the Daniel Hand game, which was also on your birthday.
My birthday.
But we were also at like the 5-yard line, and Ross had the balls to let you throw it. When Silas's helmet came off, was it kind of like oh shit, like I'm going in?
Well, once his helmet came off, I was ready to go in, but I didn't think Coach Ross was going to call a pass play on the goal line. But it just showed you how much confidence Coach Ross kind of had in me, being like, oh, sophomore backup, but who cares? Like, state playoffs, like, we'll let him throw the ball. I just think it was kind of awesome they let me throw the ball. Didn't complete the pass, which was kind of unfortunate, but.
Was there any nerves or kind of like, because that was technically your varsity debut?
I mean, there definitely was some nerves, but I remember running into the game and Mr. Sweeney saying, saying that, oh, Big Red's running into the game right now. His 16th birthday. I just thought it was just a cool experience, even though it was one play. I thought it was very very cool.
And I was talking with Christian too the other day. He remembers after the 2013 state championship, he was sitting with you, Bobby, and Hudson, and you all kind of agreed that you would never let this happen again. How big of a motivation was that loss heading into 2014 for you?
Well, I mean, you never want to lose New Canaan, but just knowing that this will never happen again. It's like you never like losing, but like that was our mindset. Work really hard in the summer, work really hard in the spring. Just make sure you never have that losing feeling ever again, because the losing feeling really is one of the worst feelings in the world.
And then one part of the book that I kind of focusing on is Sam and I had a good talk about this yesterday, was the treatment of players inside the classroom and off the field. We were liked by some, but despised by others, and some other students as well kind of looked at us as kind of stupid and stereotypical football players who didn't deserve an education at some point. Do you remember any good or bad, teachers targeting you in any way as a football player, or did you not get any of that?
I mean, in school I had a bunch of other issues that I had during school that football, I never really saw a teacher look down on me because I played football. I think it's a positive that you play football because, I mean, just the work ethic that you can balance playing football and doing school and like exceeding at both, I think just like should prove to people that, oh, we're not like these dumb jock athletes. It's like actually the opposite, that we have the ability and the capability to work on and off the field and be successful at both. I think it's a positive playing football.
And then a lot of it too is the pressure of being a high school athlete, especially at the ages we played at. Did you ever feel any pressure due to the fact that your dad was a quarterback of Notre Dame and felt like you had to live up to those expectations, or did you create your own expectations when you were the starter?
I mean, I still live almost not in his shadow, but I still feel the pressure even today playing football because my dad being so successful, playing at such a big time Division I school, winning a national championship. Growing up, you always want to please your parents, but like I always felt like there was that pressure that, oh, I have to please my dad. Like I'd look up in the stands after a bad play, he wouldn't be upset. He'd always be clapping, be like, next play, like don't worry about it. I think having him on my side was the best thing. He's been the best coach I've ever had because he's been there before. He's been in the trenches. He's had bad days. He's had good days. But I think just there was some pressure, but he wanted me to create my own path.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helped me the most.
And then to open the season, we were at Hill House. You had a pretty good game. It was 204 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Were there any nerves before that game when you kind of realized, all right, I'm the starting quarterback of this team. This is something I've been dreaming about?
Definitely the night before. I mean, your first varsity start, you're kind of nervous. Go playing away as well. You're like, oh, I don't know what to expect. But even today, I still get butterflies right before I go into a game. But once you snap the ball for the first time and someone gets hit, nerves go away and you just start playing football again.
And this has been a favorite question among the people I've talked to so far. What was your pregame routine? What did you do the night before, the morning of? Like Mark had the same sandwich every game for 4 years, and then Silas always got a Pedialyte, same parking spot at Stop and Shop before every game. But what was yours?
I laid out the outfit I was gonna wear the night before, right before I went to bed. I'd lay out my jersey, my pants, everything on the floor, and then I'd wake up and just like Mark, I ate the same sandwich, turkey BLT, no tomatoes from Bavala's on a roll, and I had a blue Gatorade before every game. And I think that was definitely my pregame routine.
And another favorite question I've gotten is a favorite pregame song.
Ooh, favorite pregame song.
Mark's was, I think, Fastlane by
Mine was definitely Ain't Worried About Nothing by French Montana. You can ask Spencer about that too, because I always sat. That was also another pregame routine. I always sat next to Spencer in the same seat on the bus, and that was just always the last song I used to play before I went out there.
That was Mark. Whenever he walked off the bus, that was the song.
Yeah, right before we ran out on the field, I'd always play that song.
And then you play your first game under the lights at Greenwich, and you won 33-26. That was your first Friday night game as a starter. What was that environment like, especially in a close game like that?
I mean, I definitely didn't play well at the start of that game. I remember I'm pretty sure the first possession I got strip sacked by Scooter Harrington for a walk-in touchdown. But that was definitely the first like real away game experience under the lights. Huge rivalry. But I feel like being a junior, you have those seniors to lean on, And I had that George Reed, Tyrell, Sam Bodo, JG. I had them to lean on. I mean, Peter Archie, I'm pretty sure, had a bunch of touchdowns that game. So, I mean, you're nervous going into the game, but being a junior, you have those senior leaders to help you get through these experiences.
And then, I mean, we were down, I think, like 3 at one point in the grand game. The St. Joe's game was actually like a true comeback. So I think we were down like 10 or 17.
17.
Yeah. And so for you, being down 17, you hadn't been in that situation before. What was going on through your head? Was there kind of the sense of, like, oh crap, they got us, or there's a lot of ball game left, we can get this done?
I didn't have a good first half. I remember going in at halftime, we were down 10-0. We did nothing offensively. I'm pretty sure I had 2 interceptions in the first half. I remember George Reed coming up to me, being, "We're going to win this game. We just need to put the ball in the end zone, and the defense is going to lead us the rest of the way." Coach Ross said the same thing. He said, "We just need one touchdown. We just need points, and we're going to win this game." I remember they went up 17-0, and we came out, again, like what I just said, you lean on those senior leaders. Todd Herget catching a huge touchdown over that kid. I mean, George making plays on defense, turning the ball over. I think that was a big thing from our junior year, was just leaning on the seniors. I mean, a bunch of us had a major part in the game, but I think leaning on those senior leaders was a huge help to us.
And then after the St. Joe's game, we pretty much smoked everyone, North Haven and stuff like that. But how did you, and I asked Mark this as well, but how did you stay focused on the task at hand, knowing that New Canaan was coming up and that we were probably going to be playing them for the FSAC championship?
I mean, you guys play one game at a time. You never know what happens. Even the next game could be your last game. You never know. So you just got to go 1 week at a time. I think the big thing in those stretch of games for me was get my confidence up, prepare for the postseason run. I think beating teams by a lot gets your confidence up. I think that span really helped me out for the future, knowing that, oh, we can do this. Like, I can put a bunch of points up on a team.
And then, as a kid, I mean, I remember worshiping the Turkey Bowl. Like, that was bigger than the Super Bowl. And, it was sacred to me. Did you have that same kind of feeling growing up, watching the guys like Matty Wheelock, Brian Kozak in 2008? Because I thought those guys were freaking heroes to me.
I definitely remember going to Boyle Stadium on that AstroTurf field when Wheelock and Brian Kozak were playing. You definitely dream of that as a young kid, being like, oh, running out of that tunnel in front of both towns. Thanksgiving morning, nothing better than Thanksgiving morning.
And then following that up, in 2014, we were at Boyle. We were actually underneath the New Canaan crowd, walking through them. And I always loved hearing fans insult us. Yeah. I just always I remember North Haven.
North Haven was the best.
They were insulting me, and I was like, dude, I'm not even playing. That's awesome that they're calling out number 44. But when you first stepped onto the field at Boyle in 2014, that was 10,000 strong. Did you have a moment of like, shit, this is the Turkey Bowl? Like, this is something I've been looking forward to, and now it's here.
I felt good all pregame warm-up. So, by our pregame, there's not a lot of people in the stands. You look around, Boyle's a pretty big stadium, pretty much empty. And you go in from pregame, and they do the whole senior introduction and everything. And then my whole thing was me, Bobby, Christian Hudson. We'd always come out last. We'd always be the last ones out of the tunnel. We'd always follow everyone out. And I remember walking up the tunnel, the snow was falling, and running into that sea of blue. It was a little shell-shocking. Like, holy shit, like, there's a bunch of people right here about to watch us play. And I think that was the first moment being like, oh, this is real. Like, this is awesome.
I actually remember 2015. So I'd given that whole talk at the league meeting about how I just wanted one play to win the Turkey Bowl. And then we go like 3 and out, and I walk out there. And the moment for me when I realized, because I'm looking around like, all right, that's a lot of people. But the moment was when you hear Sweeney on the PA go, Darien, punt. And I was like, shit, I'm actually in the game right now. And then they blocked the punt. My guy rips right through me. And I was like, okay, that went well. But for you, when you first went to take that first snap, what was that like? Or were you just locked in at that point?
No, you gotta get the first snap over with. You definitely have those nerves, the butterflies in your stomach, a little shaky. But once that first play is over, it's just clockwork. It's clockwork after that.
And then New Canaan's up 21-0 at one point, 21-7 at half. Was it the same kind of mindset as St. Joe's, where the seniors were saying, "Hey, we can still do this thing"?
I mean, it definitely was. I mean, the seniors, I mean, it's their last Turkey Bowl. You just want to do whatever you can for them. But I think going into halftime, that touchdown pass I threw to Colin, rolling out to my right and
Yeah.
hitting him right in the corner. I think that was a big confidence booster, being like, oh, I know I can drive this team down the field against that great New Canaan defense. And I think, but again, just like that St. Joe's game, the defense stepped up again. I think that was a big thing from our junior year was our defense was so good. I think that's why we were so successful because, I mean, you hold New Canaan at 21 points. I mean, that's a win. You should win that game.
And then we go to overtime, which is like insane. And just thinking about that, I remember I was like, shit, like this game's going OT. Were there nerves of like, this is OT, this is do or die? You know?
I mean, definitely. It's just like the start of a game again.
Yeah.
It's like the first half, the second half, beginning of the first half, beginning of the second half, and then overtime. The nerves being like, oh, I make one mistake here, like this game could be over, and then I end up hurting my shoulder the first play of overtime, and Hudson ends up winning it for us.
Yeah. And then Bobby picks it off. What's the first thing you think or do?
I wasn't thinking. I started running.
Yeah.
I was running around the field trying to find someone to hug. That play was amazing.
'Cause I remember they kind of like everyone centered in on Mark, and that was where the pile was. I kind of
pretty sure I was just running in circles.
I saw you, and I didn't know you had hurt your shoulder, so I went in like to hug you, and like I realized I was like, oh shit, he's hurt, right? But yeah, it was kind of like a feeling of like
kind of like don't know what's going on. It doesn't really sink in. To be honest with you, that winning the turkey bowl didn't sink in until I woke up the following morning. It was at practice. That's when you realize that, oh shit, like we just won the turkey bowl.
Yeah. And then this has been an interesting question that I've gotten, I guess you could say good ones out of Silas and Mark. So Silas, I asked him, were there any physical moments where he was so beaten up? He had talked about in the 2013 turkey bowl, he was concussed out of his mind. I was asking him, and then he said after the game, his mom had asked him about the drive in the third quarter, and he didn't remember, and he doesn't remember the second half. And then Mark as well, against North Haven, he got on the bus and asked Andrew Clark if we had won, and he couldn't even tell Andrew what day it was. But for and you had gotten injured, and pretty much you had gotten hit pretty hard that game. How did you feel after that game?
Sore.
Yeah.
I've never been as sore in my life. Zach Allen got me a bunch of times. That definitely didn't help, but definitely the shoulder thing was definitely. Thank God it was my left shoulder, because I don't think if it was my right shoulder, I don't think I could throw the ball. Because even today, it still hurt. I still haven't gotten it fixed, but definitely sore. I remember practice, you can't run, you can't do anything. Waking up, like rolling out of bed, you can't feel your body, but definitely. Just the mental and physical fatigue that next morning after that game, being through the ups and downs of what a crazy game. You're on the verge of losing, then you win all of a sudden, and it's like, holy shit. But I think it was more mentally draining than it was physically for me, because just the roller coaster ups and downs of that game. Like at halftime, oh, I don't know if we're going to win. And then it's 21-21 all of a sudden. And you're like, oh my God, like we have the chance to win here. I just think it was just mentally just draining for me.
And it's funny. For Christian, Sam Rock, and Mark Evanchik, I just had to say the score, 20-7, and they knew what I was talking about. State championship 2014. How crushed were you after that loss? Because it was a 1-point loss, 21-20.
Definitely crushed. I still have never watched the film of that game.
Really?
Still have never watched it. Even though it was a bad loss, and I'd love to take it back, it's our only loss for me as a starter. It was a motivating factor. That was, like you said before, like, oh, me, Bobby, and Christian, we never want this to happen again. But that was like, this better not happen ever again. Like, I'm never doing this ever again.
And Christian had mentioned that, in 2013 he was upset and pissed. But then in 2014 he kind of had the silver lining of, all right, but next year we're the seniors, we're in control. Did you kind of have that mentality after that game?
Well, I mean, going into my senior year, my mindset was I'm going to do everything I can to win the state championship for the town of Darien. I mean, you talk about 1996? 1996 was the last one, and you're like, I want to be the guy to win this. I want to be known as the kid and be part of that team that won that state championship that Darien's been waiting for such a long time.
And then, a big part of 2014 for me and a lot of people was Jim, hence the title of the book.
Yeah.
What did a guy like Jim do for you in high school as a player and even after?
I mean, it gives you that motivation. Just knowing that someone who's going through such a difficult time in their life
is still so positive and just brings positive energy to every time he was around the team. He was so positive, and I felt like it was so motivating, but it was just so awesome to see, being like, oh, we're playing for a guy who's having such a challenge in his life, but he's always so positive, and we're part of him being so positive, being around a bunch of high schoolers with great attitudes. I think he was just such a major key to our success in life.
And here we are at Arlosi's. How much did John mean to you in developing you into the player that you were?
I mean, John's everything. I mean, you can ask anyone. I mean, I just got home. It's my first lift this summer, but this summer it's just a grind. Every time you come in here, you have that mindset. He tells you every time I came in here, be like, you're not losing. Like, all this stuff, but you can't let that happen again. Like, he will do whatever he can to make sure that we, as athletes, never endure what we did on December 13th, I'm pretty sure it was. Never let that happen again. And I give most of the credit for our success comes from this gym and what he does for us.
All right, we're halfway there. 2014, you're named the captain, which, and Mark had said it was such an honor for him. But he remembers, you guys getting together for the first time, and you guys took it very seriously, especially with the past captains, like with Miles Ritter, the mistake he made. And you guys didn't want to be portrayed as kind of the bad guys or thugs in that matter. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I definitely agree with that. I mean, definitely being a captain, you want to be a role model for the younger kids, even the kids in our grade. You just want to be that role model. And I think a big thing our senior year was stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
I think the commitment thing was we have a goal in mind. Once we complete that goal, we can do what we want to do. But I think just keeping the clean slate and being influences and mentors for the younger kids and showing them the right way to go through a season and all the hard work you have to put in and how much effort it actually takes to go 12-0. I think that was our mindset.
And you answered this a little bit, but senior year was interesting, and Mark and I were discussing this a lot. We were finally on top of the team. We were the seniors, Phones guys, and I think probably one of the most popular teams Darien ever had because you were a household name in so many ways. But I remember opening night at Stanford when they put the JV guys, the juniors and the sophomores, and we did the whole sideline cap thing, and we were talking with kids and fans in the stands. I remember I was throwing the football with a kid 5 rows up and stuff like that. Did you enjoy the idea of kind of being a superstar in town and being a role model for younger kids like DJ felt?
I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, you definitely being that kind of kid, you got to win first.
Yeah.
And I think being a kid that young kids look up to was really like I really had to take it back for a second, being like, oh, now I'm the leader of this team. Like, the ball's in my hand every play. Like, one screw up, the season's over. But I think the younger kids looking up to me, I remember talking to all those kids on the sidelines. We're up 42-0. I mean, it's just awesome. Just being like all the support we had from the younger kids, all the families. I still have people coming up to me today. I had a woman last night at Mother's Day dinner come up to me and be like, oh, like, you had such a good career at Darien. Like, it was so spectacular what you did those years. I mean, it's just a nice feeling to have. Just being like, there's so many people look up to you and really appreciate what we accomplished as a team.
I just want to make sure it's still because I don't want to lose all this. That almost happened the other day. God, so wait. Alright, cool. Yeah, and if just if you just keep moving the mouse.
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever,
I got
sorry.
you.
But then, and with that as well, I think your case is most interesting to us, which is why I have all these questions. That you were a 2-year starter and you were pretty much well known, like you just said, people still come up to you. How did you handle that pressure, if there was pressure at all, knowing you kind of had to win the state title in order to fulfill that destiny that we had?
I mean, there was definitely a lot of pressure. I mean, our class was the class that we always thought it was kind of ironic that we were the class to do it because being with Coach T for so long. But one game, you slip up one game and it's over. And I think just going into every week and every game, you have that mindset being like, doesn't matter who we're playing, we have to win. I don't think there was as much pressure. I think we put more pressure on ourselves to win all those games. I don't think there was any outside pressure, but I think it was the pressure that we put on ourselves, and the expectations we had for ourselves to compete at the highest level and win every game.
You really, had an insane senior year, probably the best of any QB in Darien history. So I was looking at it, over 3,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions compared to junior years, 2,500 yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Do you credit that to being around, friends of yours like Colin, Hudson, Rock, guys you've been playing with for 10 years at that time?
I definitely think that has to do with it, but I think going through all the ups and downs I went through my junior year really helped me for my senior year. So I remember we went to the 7-on-7s that summer. We dominated 7-on-7s. And I think just the confidence that you have a year under your belt, just the confidence you carry yourself with on the field, it just helps so much, I feel like, to have those kind of numbers.
And then was senior year for you more about enjoying your final year of high school football, or was it both, the relentless pursuit of perfection?
I think it was both. I think a major part of going into my senior year was that I committed before going into my senior year. So that takes the burden off your shoulder, being like, oh, I don't have to perform to still try to play college football. I knew where I was going to play. But I think the major thing was we wanted to go undefeated. Never again, unfinished business. We had our goal in mind, and we were going to do whatever we could to reach that goal. I think that was our mindset the whole season.
And Sam had mentioned this too, for me as well. I got into Indiana in September, so at that point I was like, all right, cool, football's life now, and I almost failed. But I kind of pushed school aside, and Sam said this too, is just to enjoy our final year, because we knew in August, all right, we got to really enjoy this. Did you feel the same way?
I definitely felt the same way. I mean, committing to Bryan, I committed July 3rd, going into the senior year. Huge weight off my shoulder. But I think just sitting back and realizing it was our last year that I was going to do whatever I could. I mean, honestly, school wasn't on my mind. We were going to do whatever we could to win all those games. I mean, you show up to school, you go to class, but you're not really thinking about what the teacher's saying. You're like, oh, I got practice. Oh, I got Southington on a Tuesday night, Monday night, whatever it was. You're like, that's what you have in your mind all day. Not, oh, what's Mr. Sweeney saying in my law class right now.
Yeah, law gov.
Yeah.
I remember we had that project where we had to make our own nation. It was
Yeah.
Spencer and I, it was a total bitch. Made some island.
Yeah.
The media was always on you, and Mark, it was very interesting what he said. Is he remembers he always drowned the media out except for the Jay Rose situation. Did you try to drown it out all the time, or were there times you went onto Twitter and read the stuff and said, all right,
No, there was times. Definitely the whole Mike Collins thing.
Yeah.
Him throwing those 9 touchdowns in that one game. You hear it, but it doesn't matter unless you beat him on Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah.
That's what I remember telling. I mean, so definitely the media. I mean, you definitely look. At comments on Game Time CT, people, all the haters out there. Oh, Darien football, all this stuff. But it fuels you. People who hate on you, the hatred fuels you to be the best team you can be and to beat whoever you want.
In those comments on Game Time CT and these adults talking, do you think for a 15, 16, 17-year-old, that kind of was different for you or in any way?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Those fathers commenting on Game Time CT, it's terrible for the state of Connecticut. It's terrible for kids to read. Grown adults who probably have never played football before in their lives bash kids. I mean, I remember when I didn't get selected. I didn't get selected to some team in the off season, and I remember people just scrutinizing how he didn't deserve it or all this stuff. Jay Rose deserved it, all this stuff. I mean, it's terrible, but it fuels you.
Yeah,
definitely fuels you.
And it's interesting because there's a quote in Friday Night Lights, the book, where it talks about these adults living through their children and stuff like that, and we see that sometimes in Darien and some of those cases, but. I mean, I'll come back to that in a later question. But I remember senior day versus Wilton. It was our last game at Darien High School. We had so many memories as kids on that field. How much were you thinking about that walking around going, man, this this is the last time I'm going to be on this field on a game in a game situation.
I mean, you definitely think about it. All this stuff, even going back to third grade, running around on that field. I mean, the last time when Sweeney called my name for the last time, running out of the tunnel, it was definitely an emotional day. Being with my parents, who have done so much for me all over these years, and just being around you guys, being around the team, being like, this is it. Like, it's our last time to put on a show in front of these people.
Yeah. And then senior year during bowls, the same kind of atmosphere as the year before. It was sunny and actually kind of nice out. Again, 10,000 though. But there's also, you had mentioned how we went into the locker room with juniors because the seniors were walking out, but that was when we got to walk out. How special was that day and the game and the win for you?
I mean, it's still one of the better days of my life so far. Walking out with my mom and dad before the game, it's definitely emotional. Just everything we've been through, academically, athletically, socially, just all the ups and downs I've been through. Just to experience that beautiful Thursday morning with my parents was awesome. And then go to shake Coach T's hand. And then to shake all the dads, being like, let's go, let's get this. And then standing there looking over at the other side, being like, they're about to get it.
Yeah. And then this is another question that might require some thinking about. When did you begin to realize that football was coming close? As Anchik had said, it was a turkey bowl dinner the night before at the church. For me, it was a couple of nights before that when Sam, Tyler, Mark, and I went to a DJFL banquet and spoke to these kids. And they were asking us questions like, what's your favorite memory from your high school career? I'm like, oh shit, right, it's almost over. But when did you come to that realization?
Definitely was when the clock hit 0 against Shelton.
Oh, yeah.
I was in full-on tears. I was giving interviews crying. It was an emotional day because we just won the state championship, but that's it. Like, I mean, that's the last time you're playing with all your buddies. Last time you put on the Blue Wave jersey. It was an emotional day, but I think pregame warm-ups, I think going into that game, I knew we were going to win. I think everyone knew we were going to win. We were just so much better than Shelton. And I think I just had this weight on my shoulder. I didn't play my best game. I was off. But I think just it was in the back of my head being like, this is it. Like, that was when I realized that it was coming to an end. That I think it was pregame warm-ups that I realized it was coming to an end.
But then taking a step back to the Southington game, I think their win total was at like 49 or something. And it was, and Christian said, like, he was walking to me, running down on kickoff and kind of being like, these guys are big and on tape they look really good. This might be it. Did you have a similar experience, or were you just?
I mean, when me and Hudson still talk about it, we had no idea what to expect going into that game. I mean, you look at a team on tape, like, you can't tell how big they are, like how fast they are on tape. I think just walking into Boyle Stadium being like, oh, we have no idea what we're expecting, but we're coming here to beat them bad too, because of all that was going on social media. This was our year, unfinished business. We're 2 steps away from it. We're going to do whatever we can to win this game. And I think our mindset was, we don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to beat up on this team no matter what happens.
And then going back to Shelton, it was an experience at so many levels. There was the walk, there was the bus ride up, thinking about all that stuff. I didn't, once the game started, I stopped thinking about it. But then Trafone gave his whole last half of your life speech. And I was like, God damn it, now you put it in my head. And then we're up, I think, 39-0, and then they scored. But were you thinking about the idea of it being your last game from the beginning, or were you? You had said you knew we were going to win that game, so was it more or less just trying to enjoy the moment?
I mean, definitely trying to enjoy the moment. I mean, we go up, we score on the first play.
Yeah.
Score on the first play of the game, pick 6. And you're like, oh, like, we're going to win this game. But I'm just trying to enjoy that moment with everyone, just taking in the last seconds, playing. I mean, Coach Ross never took me out. I played the whole game. It was just a nice ending to such a great season. I think just taking it all in was awesome. Wish we played closer to home though, but it was all right.
Crowd
yeah.
I remember in the final minutes that you had mentioned that Ross would take you out, but we were up. So 4J sent Sam Schmidt and I out as a senior linebackers for one final defensive drive. And I remember walking out with him, looking around, like, they had like 10 years flat in front of you. And it was really a moment of like, damn, this is it. And Mark had told me last night that 4J had pulled him out, and Mark was pissed. Like, he was yelling at 4J, like, let me go back in. When you walked out for that final play, because you took the final knee, right? was it kind of like what was that like?
I mean, I remember it so clearly. I took the final day, and like usually when you win a state championship, everyone's like,
crazy, yeah, and
everyone really wasn't. It was more a weight off our shoulder. I remember just in a big group hug. I don't remember who was in the group hug, but it was just a big group hug of like 5 seniors being like, we finally did this. Like, this has been on our shoulders since we stepped into high school. The pressure that was put on us by the town, the pressure that we put on ourselves. And I think when the clock hit 0, you're like, we did it. And just the weight was off your shoulder, and you're like, oh, I can now enjoy this moment.
I kind of forgot about the idea of it being over because I was so happy that we had won and stuff like that. And again, first state title since '96. But then, we get back and there was the gym goodbyes, and that was really for everyone. I think that's the moment they had to finally realize, like, holy crap, it's over. But how long did it take you to come to terms and realize, this was an incredible experience, it's unforgettable. I've learned so much from this, but life is gonna go on for me.
I think it was Monday morning in school. I think when you show up to school that Monday, you don't have football practice in the afternoon. You're like, God, it's actually over. Like, we don't have football practice this afternoon. Like, I'm getting ready to go play lacrosse now. Like, it's a weird feeling. I didn't like the feeling, but you have to know that life goes on. And luckily for me, I had more football to play in my life. And I just think that Monday morning in school really just hit you, being like, oh, it actually is over.
Silas went on to play at Middlebury and then transferred to Yale, but he described this, and I had seen this too when I went to Indiana the first time. This is kind of a difference in college football. Like in Indiana, the offense fights with the defense all the time. They don't sit together at like lunch or anything. It's really just kind of this 2 separate teams in a way. Did you feel that? Because Silas had realized that when he got to Middlebury, no one really cared in their town. No one really came to his games or anything, and he kind of had missed that feeling he got at Darien. Did you have that same kind of feeling?
I still feel it. I miss playing with my buddies. I miss playing with everyone. I mean, you definitely feel it. It's just I'm with 100 new kids that I've never played football with. It's weird. The defense, even at my school, the defense doesn't like the offense. We fight a lot, but it's just not the same. It's not throwing. I miss throwing to Colin. I miss throwing to Hudson. It's a weird feeling, but I'm enjoying it. But it's just not the same.